I'm Christian Malesic, Executive Officer of the HBA of Berks County, Pennsylvania. And I'm not an attorney. I am an MBA. We're going to translate the lofty ivory tower language of the attorney into thingamajig, how you doing, and whatchamacallit, so that the average Joe and Jane contractor can apply it to their business today. So in 2008, the Pennsylvania legislator and the governor signed the Home Improvement Consumer Protection Act of Pennsylvania, and HICPA, or HICPA, like I said, some people refer to it as hiccup, the contractors. It's a registration, not a licensing, meaning that there's no real teeth to it. There's no education requirement to get into it, nor is there an education requirement to keep it. You can be booted off the list. It is both administered and policed through the Pennsylvania Attorney General. And the website is attorneygeneral.gov. I don't know how they managed to get the gov website for the entire country when there's 49 other states, but we did that. So we're Pennsylvania, you know. Every 2 years, you have to register, re-register, $50 fee to do so. Pretty easy to do so. If you do not register, big fines, big penalties. There is a list on the attorneygeneral.gov website. If you're not sure if your company is registered, you can go look at it pretty easily. You can find. So what are the rules? How do you know if you need to register or not?
Is a $50 fee a one-time fee or every time you register?
It's every time you register, so it's $50 every 2 years as of now. We're in 2012 here, and the price has not gone up. So the fear of the Home Builders Association and our Pennsylvania Builders Association counterpart was that they were going to get us in at $50 and then they were going to start raising the rate. As of 4 years later, that has not happened yet. So far, the numbers are kind of staying where they said they were going to stay. How do you know if you need to register? Well, if you do $5,000, greater than or equal to $5,000 worth of residential work per year, you need to register your company. Now, this is per company, not per person. So you'd look at the entire firm, LLC, incorporated. If you're a sole proprietor, then you would look at any employees that you may have as well. So it's the whole firm, 5,000 or more. It doesn't matter if that's 5,000 jobs for $1 or if it's one job for $5,000. You need to register. The packet that you have here, which is a frequently asked questions, very easy to get to. It is on attorneygeneral.gov, which is the Pennsylvania Attorney General, and it's right on the home page, can help you get to that. It does have a number of frequently asked questions, which start on the first page, go on to the second page, and then continue with answers. It's called the Home Improvement Consumer Protection Act. So who is a home improvement contractor? Well, as you might imagine, with any type of legislation, everybody and their mother lobbied the Pennsylvania to have the rules changed in their favor. So this group has these special rules, and that group has those special rules, and this group has this special rules. And what that means is it makes it very complicated to know. It's hard for me to brief all of you on whether or not you particularly are subject to this, but you certainly can read in the frequently asked questions. Basically, if you're working for a homeowner, a builder is an exception. So if it's a new home that's not yet lived in, that's an exception. If you're working for a homeowner that lives in there, you probably are subject to it, and you need to make sure that you're registered. You also then will get a PA registration number, and you need to make sure that that registration number is on all of your advertising. That registration number needs to be on your contracts, on your quotes, on your estimates, on your proposals. The big question is, does it need to be on my vehicles? Well, do you advertise on your vehicle? If yes, then yes. If no, then no. If you put a magnet on the door, you're advertising. So it needs to be on that magnet or on the back. Do you need to have it 50 places on the vehicle? No. It does need to, however, be on the vehicle. Again, the frequently asked questions speak to that. Should it be on your business card? Yes. Should it be on any flyers? Yes. Website? Yes. Do you need to put it on your social media? Well, if you're doing things like Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, you should put it on your main page. You don't need to state it on every single video. You don't need to state it on every single tweet. You don't need to say it every time you do LinkedIn. Now, obviously, if you're doing Facebook or Pinterest and you're doing that personally and not as the company, it's not a corporate account, these rules don't apply. If you happen to post a company picture, look at what I did today. I was installing this. I got to meet a new homeowner that's real nice. I wanted to introduce you. Then that's different. That's considered a personal page. But if you're doing it as the company page, you need to have your HICPA number on there. The Home Improvement Consumer Protection Act, HICPA, also brought a whole bunch of other things into play that relates to the contract. First of all, the magic number is $500 and 1 penny. Now, of course, the legislators didn't write it that way. The way they wrote it is over 500. So over 500 is $500 and 1 penny. So if a contract is for $500 and 1 penny or more, the HICPA law applies. Anything from $500 or less, you can do whatever you want to do. Whatever rules, obviously you have to follow standard business practices and not break the law, other laws and that type of thing. But as far as, do you need a contract? No. Can you do a signed proposal where you just have a couple of small terms? What we would call this in my previous contract, or we'd call this our mini contract, just a one piece of paper proposal. It has a couple little small terms on there that we think are the most important. Generally, they're payment terms. If you don't pay, we're gonna do something to collect, and you agree to that. They sign and they date. And up top, we have the scope of work. So we would call that our mini contract. That is a contract. As we get into the contract section today, you'll realize that is a contract. Now, that does not meet the standards of HICPA. The Home Improvement Consumer Protection Act has very specific standards. A couple of them are listed under the bullet point. I did also give you the whole law. Now, this is boring as heck, but it's not terribly long. It's 14 pages. So you have it. If you put it in a file and never refer to it, that's fine. But if at any time you need it, here it is. This is also on the attorneygeneral.gov, which is the Pennsylvania Attorney General's website. So you can refer to that, and that you can go right to the horse's mouth and make sure you understand it directly. Although it's written in legalese, it's not terribly bad compared to some other language or contracts that you may have seen in the past that are, the wherefore art thou Romeo type that you can hardly understand. Contracts do have to be in writing if they're $500 and a penny or more. If your contract is not 6 to 8 pages long, you're probably not complying. If you have a 1 or 2 page contract, a 3 page contract, chances are you're not complying, because there's a whole bold, has to be in capital letters, bold print, such and such a font size. That alone takes like a half a page to a page. The other thing that the HBA, the Home Builders Association, highly recommends is that you do collect a deposit on any and all jobs. Now, the HICPA law does speak specifically to deposits and puts some limitations on you. Oddly enough, because of lobbying, the deposit amount is not the same as the job amount. So now we have another number that we have to remember. And this, by the way, has been amended. So if you've attended any other classes back in 2008, 2009, this is a new number. It's now $5,000 and a penny or greater. So $5,000 and less is one bracket. You can do whatever you want. The law does not speak to deposit. So it's, let the buyer beware. If it's $5,000 and a penny or higher, you're only allowed to collect 1/3 deposit plus any special order items. 1/3 deposit plus any special order items. What's a special order item? Is it an oak tree? No. Is it an outlet? No. Paint? No. Is it a custom fit countertop or cabinet? Well, if it's a cabinet that I can return and it's a somewhat stock, even though I'm putting together, that's not custom. If it's a custom cut countertop, yes. If it's a refrigerator or a range, no, unless it has my initials etched in it and maybe custom painted and the shelves aligned exactly the way I want it with water that comes out the side instead of the front. In other words, if it was done custom and the homeowner specifically ordered it and you had to put in a custom order with your contractor or your supplier, or you are the supplier, and it's not easily returnable, then that's what counts as custom. You can collect 1/3 of the deposit of the entire job plus the entire amount for custom. Is that clear? Am I? Okay, good. The other thing I want to just kind of go off on a small tangent here, you need to be collecting deposits. All of the best contractors in Pennsylvania and the whole country are collecting deposits. So we would recommend 50% up to that magic number of $5,000.01. Obviously, the law kicks in at that point, and you can only do a third above that. So how do you keep track of all this? Well, one of our members of the Home Builders Association, which happens to be my previous employer and the company that I helmed for 15 years, put together this sheet. And I did speak with the new CEO, and as a member of the Home Builders, they made this available to you. This is yours to do whatever you want with it, whether that's throw it away or adapt it. This is a sheet that they made that they fill out for every job, whether it's $1 job or $1 million job. They fill out this sheet very quickly, and it figures everything out for you. The middle box tells you, did you get to a point where the Home Improvement Consumer Protection Law applies or not? And how do you determine that? By the factors at the top. The factors at the top are the people that lobbied. So Home Builders Association lobbied and said, we don't want to have to comply with the law. So if it's a new home that's not being lived in, the law doesn't apply. It doesn't matter the dollar amounts. Law doesn't apply. So obviously, if it's a commercial build, if you're working here at the office of the Home Builders Association, at one of your businesses, the law doesn't apply. This is residential. And so this allows you to quickly go down and check off, and based on whether you say applies or not applicable, if they all apply, then the law is subject and you have to fill out the bottom. If they don't all apply, then the law does not apply, and the law is not subject, so you don't even need to worry about the bottom. That's what I had planned to cover on the Home Improvement Consumer Protection Act before we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of contracts. What questions can I answer before we move on? And certainly as you think of something, you can ask, but what questions do you have on the registration process, the law itself, how to adapt your contracts, anything like that?
Attorney General is the one that's enforcing, for instance, if you had a $5,001 job and you collected 50% and somebody reported you, the Attorney General is the one that's following out on these orders.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So what that means is obviously the Attorney General is not sending out Attorney General police officers. So somebody needs to make a complaint. In this case, it would be the homeowner. It might be your competitor somehow gets wind of it and is playing dirty pool. And so the Attorney General's office does have a complaint department, and of course this has been expanded because now they have money, additional funds than just the normal government funds. They have our $50 per company funds to help apply this. So yes, they would look into it. You could lose your registration. They could bring additional legal action
And
upon
the
you.
fines would probably be listed on their website as well.
The fines is listed actually in the frequently asked questions that I've provided for you, and so that's in the pages. There's more information on the web, again at attorneygeneral.gov, but most of the information is in these two packets I've provided. What's not here obviously is the application, the process of registering, which by the way, again, is very easy. You do it online, you use a credit card if you have one. It's actually pretty quick. They don't ask for blood type and firstborn and all that kind of stuff.